I don't feel I am a duck or a gopher or a pumpkin. So please, please help us stop that disinformation.
Welcome back to the show. I'm going to do a special report on Joe Rogan's podcast with Pierre Poilievre and his time in the United States on a separate report. But in today's report, I'm going to cover the latest news. The Liberals are straight up unhinged in the House of Commons. Things are out of control in Canada. Let's get into this report. Before I begin, I just want to say, I love creating daily reports. I have a 7 and a 9-year-old at home, and they're home for spring break, which has caused me some issues with my daily reports. It takes 4 to 6 hours to create just a 20-minute YouTube video. And as soon as I start, the kids start jumping off the walls. And yes, I have to take them out. So I apologize in advance. This spring break has been quite busy for me. But next week, they're heading back to school and I could get back to my daily reporting. Now, let's get into today's report. Mark Carney's back from his luxurious trip in Italy, drinking fine wine and caviar and steak and cheese, you name it. He's back in Canada, though. And guess what? He refused to show up in the House of Commons. Instead, he gave Steve McKinnon his seat as Prime Minister to answer questions. How did Steve do?
Speaker, the Liberal incompetence in our immigration system keeps getting worse. Yesterday, the Auditor General revealed widespread fraud in the Liberals' international student program. Even worse, of the 150,000 suspected fraud cases, the department reviewed less than 3% of them. And this is only one part of the Liberal immigration mess. So, did the Liberal Prime Minister fix this? Not at all. Besides keeping his terrible minister in place, he promoted the last 2 incompetent ministers. They're raining down destruction as his justice minister and culture minister. Why are 3 of the most incompetent and destructive immigration ministers still in his cabinet?
Why?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, that question has been asked several times and answered several times. I wonder that if that member, when he was growing up and dreaming of being in the Parliament of Canada, is now having a reckoning with the fact that he's being handed some question by some 24-year-old in the Leader's office, and now is being required to stand up in the House of Commons and read it again.
True story.
That is what's going on here.
Perfectly all right. Perfectly all right.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think of Stephen McKinnon's unhinged rant? You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a teenage schoolgirl that just found out that her boyfriend is cheating on her. This guy should not be serving this country. Talking about completely unhinged, here's Canada's immigration minister that completely glitches out and has a full-blown unhinged meltdown. Check this out. I don't even know what's going on in this clip.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians elected this government last year because they know that this government has a plan. Our plan has results. It is not based on a script as they do on the other side. Over the last year, we've reduced temporary residents by more than half. We brought the asylum numbers by more than a third. We've refocused economic immigration like never before it's been done. Canadians can see that this government is focused and has a plan. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Canadians elected this.
I'm so sorry. This person is making $300,000 plus bonuses and whatever else. I'm sure it's close to $500,000. Gets like half the year off on vacation, in charge of Canada's immigration, and says, "You voted for us. This is your fault, Canada. If you didn't want a Liberal-led government, why did you vote for us?" Talking about the insane asylum, check out this.
Mr. Speaker, I got into politics because I love my country, Canada. The opposition member got into politics because He had tendinitis. He thinks that Canadians are losers, and he thinks that his job is terrible. He's on video saying that. You know, that's not responsible, and that's why we support the Prime Minister.
Are you kidding me? That's his argument? The reason that Pierre Poilievre went into politics is because he has tendinitis in his elbow. These are the elbozos that are operating in our government. Like I said, 300,000 plus for a fool like this. If you're a lefty and you voted NDP last election, you might be furious today because Stephen McKinnon has something to say to you.
Do you think there'll be a resurgence of the NDP, a resurgence of a threat from the left, given the momentum they have right now?
Momentum? Momentum?
What a dick. Sorry, I had to just say it. We're not done with Steve McKinnon because he's acting as prime minister for Mark Carney because Mark Carney refuses to work as prime minister. He's not showing up in the House of Commons. He's not finished his expensive wine from his trip in Italy. So Steve McKinnon shows up in the House of Commons and he says that Liberals are proud of their immigration track record. They have the best immigration record in the entire world. Liberals are the best, absolutely the best at everything. If you can't afford a house, groceries, or gas, it's because of Harper or Trump or Iran. Just stop complaining, Canadians.
Mr. Speaker, we will stand up every day and be proud of the Liberal track record in standing up for Canada and building Canada. And what the Leader of the Opposition has been treated to today is a minister who is in control of this file, who has seen immigration levels, student visas go down. In fact, for the first time ever, Mr. Speaker, last year Canada dropped 100,000 population. Canada has one of the best immigration systems in the country, in the world, and people are proud of it. People stand by it.
Mark Carney just posted on his social media account, instead of going to the House of Commons, look at him. He's wearing these peasant shoes. This is our prime minister with his neck and his back all hunched over. He says, in Canada, we believe that everyone should have the chance to get ahead. Education is that key promise. So for the next year, we're extending the increase to federal student grants and loan limits. You know how Steve McKinnon said that we shut the door to immigration? Well, why did Mark Carney go to India and announce that Canada will be providing $100 million in scholarship for Indian students under a new education measure? All of that money should go towards Canadian-born students. Nope, we're going to give it to India. Forget Canadian-born students. Don't you absolutely love our prime minister? Too bad Mark Carney did not show up to defend his ministers. Pierre Poilievre absolutely obliterated and humiliated all of the immigration previous and current ministers of immigration. Check out this heated back and forth exchange in the House of Commons today.
With that kind of incompetent, incoherent answer, it's not hard to understand how that minister failed to investigate 97% of the 150,000 suspected cases of fraud in the international student program. Mr. Speaker, not only that, of the 3% that he did have investigated, they abandoned half of those because the suspected fraudster did not respond to investigators' emails. Mr. Speaker, this is the current Liberal government. Will the current Liberal Prime Minister take responsibility, fire that minister, the Justice Minister, and the Immigration Minister?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
If he wants to talk about incompetence in politics, he need look no further than the mirror. Listen to the approach that he takes on Canada-U.S. relations, saying it's not the Americans' fault, it's ours, we're stupid, while his caucus colleagues go down to south to say that we're throwing a hissy fit up here. You want to see incompetence? Let's look at the Conservative leader's statements, calling the RCMP leadership despicable and calling on his political opponents to be jailed. We will move forward with thoughtful policy that ensures our immigration system moves with integrity, while we welcome newcomers who can help grow the economy.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, this Prime Minister is rewarding and encouraging incompetence by putting the single worst immigration minister in Canadian history in as the new Minister of Justice. That minister caused a 300% increase in population growth. Now we know that there were hundreds of thousands of potentially fraudulent cases that he refused to have investigated. 97% of the cases of potential fraud were uninvestigated, and half of the remaining 3% were abandoned because the fraudsters did not respond to emails. Will the Prime Minister take responsibility for these incompetent Liberals and fire them now?
The Honourable Minister of Immigration. The Honourable Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me repeat for that member and his entire caucus. As I said, since 2025, 100% of the discrepancies reported were followed up. And they were followed up 100% since 2025 with the high-risk investigated. The Auditor General confirmed improvements took place. IRCC has tightened its approach, and we have control over the student visas. The numbers prove it. Thank you.
Yeah. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Okay, now the mystery is resolved. We have only 3% of the 150,000 cases of suspected fraud were investigated at all. Half of those investigations were abandoned because the alleged fraudster didn't respond to their email. But now we learned they have followed up with another email, Mr. Speaker, and the threat is clear. If there is no response to that email, there will be yet another email, Mr. Speaker. With this kind of total incompetence under the leadership of the current Liberal Prime Minister, why won't he fire these 3 ministers so we can get the system?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me tell Canadians and this member and his caucus that the report examined 18 months. The government had already initiated improvement to the system way before the audit started. The Auditor General confirmed that the system is tightened, the student visas have been examined, improvements has taken place. Since 2025, 100% of referrals from institutions were examined. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I admit it's unfair for the Prime Minister, the Liberal Prime Minister, to force that minister to respond for all of the mistakes of her 2 predecessors, whom he has promoted. But it really is the illusion of this Prime Minister. He refuses to stand and answer questions today, although he is in Ottawa, on the fact that we have the only shrinking economy in the G7. The worst food price inflation in the G7, the worst household debt in the G7, the worst housing costs in the G7, 100,000 jobs lost in the first 2 months of this year. Will the Prime Minister have the courage to stand up now and defend his terrible Liberal track record?
My question is simple. Do Liberal supporters actually watch the House of Commons sessions? Because after you watch this session and you still support the Liberals, there is something wrong with you. You know, the difference between the 2 leaders is night and day. Here's Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre. Today, we have a global elitist wearing his Order of Canada pin on repeat. He never wears his Canada pin. While you have Canada First, the guy that actually cares about you, wear his Canada pin flag, working for the common people. This guy could care less if you can't afford food in this country. And here they are together this morning saying hi to each other after Mark Carney came back from his beautiful trip in Italy, sees Pierre Poilievre for the very first time after Pierre absolutely crushes it on the biggest podcast in the world, Joe Rogan. You could see Mark Carney has his hunchback and you have the real leader that is straight up and he's ready to go. Who looks more prime ministerial material in this photo? You're going to absolutely love this. You know, Mark Carney ran a campaign saying he was the only one that can negotiate a win with Donald Trump. He said that he was going to get us a big win on July 21st. We're a year into his prime minister, and he has yet to get anything from the United States. In fact, we have higher tariff rates today than we did before he showed up into our lives. The Liberals have officially started panicking, so they're actually open to Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives working with the Liberals in order to get a new deal with the United States.
The Prime Minister has been texting Pierre Poilievre. It seems that the relationship is more cordial. Do you expect a reset in the House leading up to CUSMA review?
I think that when we work as one team Canada, when it comes to defending the interests of auto workers, steel workers, aluminum workers, and forestry workers across the country, we win. We need to be united, and it's important that all opposition parties also be working with the government on this. That was the case during the first Trump administration at the time when we went through a very successful CUSMA review, and we expect no less.
This is what failure looks like. They're struggling to get that deal with Donald Trump, and they're open to the Conservatives to come and help. Can you believe it? Actually, I'm thrilled to hear this because they need all the help that they could get. But when she says the Liberals are open to working together with all parties, why don't they take that advice when it comes to Bill C-9? What I find absolutely shocking was Elizabeth May, after how many years serving in politics, has finally sobered up. Check this out.
But Bill C-9 not only doesn't solve problems of hate crimes, it not only doesn't give law enforcement new tools, it will create a morass. I'm absolutely certain that if this law is passed as is, it will waste police resources, waste court time, and tie people up in knots in wrongful prosecutions for things that were never hate crimes at all. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I vote against this bill.
What? Can you believe it? Elizabeth May voted down Bill C-9. She's come to her senses. I'm in shock right now, but there's a problem. The Liberals and the Bloc have pushed Bill C-9 forwards at report stage, locking in amendments that strip away longstanding legal protections, including good faith religious defense. We are in big trouble in Canada. Even though Elizabeth May said no, Bloc Québécois said yes, and the Liberals are moving forwards with this insane. At the beginning of this report, I had this scene, the meme that I showed you at the beginning. Well, let's just take a look at this scene. Absolutely insane.
The gun lobby and the Conservatives want you to believe that no one supports the assault-style firearm compensation program. Pierre Poilievre claims that we are, and I quote, confiscating hunting rifles and pop can guns that are used on farm, that we are banning farmers from dealing with gophers. In that compensation program, there is the Ruger Mini 14, which was used against me in Polytechnique. There's the firearm that was used at the mosque. There were some firearms that were used at Port Tapic. I don't feel I am a duck or a gopher or a pop can. So please, please help us stop that disinformation. Canadians deserve to register and to get their money back. They are honest assault-style. They bought their firearms honestly, with goodwill. And we recognize that, and so that's why there is that compensation program. But if they are not registered by March the 21st, they won't be able to recuperate that money. So please, please help us spend that information. It doesn't take long, it's just a few minutes, and by March 31, they'll be able to recover their money. There's still 19,000 models that are accessible for hunting, for sport shootings, so they can practice their activities. So please help us tell to Canadians that we're not grabbing guns that are made for duck guns or gopher guns. We are fighting against assault-style weapon, and it's important that the real message is heard. Please.
As Ryan Garrickson here says on X, I'm sorry to hear what happened to this woman 37 years ago, but taking away firearms away from law-abiding Canadians won't fix her trauma. The Liberal government is clearly using her to remove guns from Canadians. They are terrible people, and I have to agree. So of course, the Liberals have to find this woman and have Gary stand right next to her.
I don't feel I am a duck or a gopher or a pumpkin. So please, please help us stop that disinformation.
The internet had a lot of fun. If you like these meme videos, head over to RPN. He always drops some of the most epic meme videos on the internet. And the internet had a lot of fun with this one. Check out the duck and the gopher. Just give me some of these nuts. Or the pop can. Just give me the pop can. That's it for today's report. I had a lot of fun. Did you have a lot of fun? Leave a comment. Let me know. I read all the comments. Smash that like button if you like this video and you want to see more of this. You know, I have to say, there is so much news that I haven't even been able to cover, but I'm going to get you guys caught back up. Also, if you haven't seen my interview with Daryl Jones, go ahead and watch that one. I don't make anything doing these interviews. I'm doing it because I actually believe that there are good people in this country that want to see change and help us get back on track. I'll see you on the next report.